Cool quote by John Kabat-Zinn. He's the founder of mindfulness, like foundation or something. He said, quite simply, the future is not here. The past is already over. We have to deal with things as they are in the moment. Healing and transformation are possible the moment we accept the actuality of things as they are. Zen, more than anything else, is about reclaiming and expanding the present moment. It tries to have you understand without arguing the point that there's no purpose in getting anywhere if, when you get there, all you do is think about getting to some other future moment. Life exists in the present and nowhere at all. And you cannot grasp that you're simply living in a fantasy. So, anyway, so focusing on the here and now, and I'm going to talk about the three false realities that inhibit achievement: the past, the future, and confirmation bias and contextual bias. So I put those as number three. And what happens is often people, and I think there's like two divides. One type of person that is stuck in the past. And I want to, as you listen to this or watch this, focus on those people that you know always are living the past, like the Uncle Ricos of the world. And they're like, yeah, when I was back in the day, I could throw a sheepskin over those mountains, and or maybe they got like in a car accident, maybe they had PTSD after military, maybe they had family members die, maybe they had all this stuff happen to them, maybe they've been abused. All of this past they have. The past is the past. It is real. It happened to us. It maybe is our reality. Maybe we've started to like skew that reality, but we have trauma that is all inside of us, and we build contextual walls around experiences due to the past. So let me give you a simple example. Let's say that let's apply this to door-to-door sales because this is a podcast. So I'm knocking a neighborhood, and it's a rich neighborhood. The first time I really ever knocked a rich neighborhood. Well, I got my face kicked in that whole day, maybe the whole week, and I never sold. So therefore, the next time the manager puts me in a rich neighborhood, my trauma is going to be like, well, I can't sell here. You've just put context to all rich neighborhoods due to my frame, due to my experience, means I can't sell. Well, no, the reality is you haven't even knocked the door yet. The reality is these are brand new people. The reality is maybe you've gotten better. The reality is you're putting your own limitation to this. Like that is not a reality. You just happen to have a bad experience at one time, maybe a year ago. So there's good and bad in the past, right? So we obviously have to process the past. We have to understand like that's part of us. But how do we decentralize ourselves out of the context and the boxes in which we limit ourselves? And what ends up happening too is a principle called self-deception. Self-deception is when we also live in this false sense of reality. So, those people. So I have a buddy that is a public speaker, and he tells the best stories. Speaking is all about storytelling, and it's funny. My father-in-law knew this guy, and the speaker talks about football, and he talks about how he was almost in the pros, and he was one of the best, and he tells all these crazy stories and highlight reels. My father-in-law played football with the guy. He's like, he was not even good. Like, he didn't even play college. Like, he just went on about all this stuff, and I was like, interesting. And this is a point that I want to make. He, over the years of speaking, has created his own stories over the last 30 years to make the stories land better for the people he speaks to. But those weren't reality for him. If you have to actually say, let me put a GoPro to you 20, 30 years ago in your prime, was that reality? So we've created the self-deception in the past. We also have created a self-deception in a negative way sometimes. Sometimes we do it for a positive, and maybe that serves us. But sometimes we do it in a very destructive way. We also do that for our futures. So let's just say in the future, we have, before I move into the future, there's another point I want to put. So when you have a relationship, so this is an important part of the past. Relationships actually hold on to the past versions of ourselves and often don't allow us to transform. Me personally, I've gone through something like this, where the 22-year-old version of me when I got married isn't the same version of the 30-year-old version of me today. And some of you guys might relate to this. And you may have done something wrong in a relationship. You may have had a bad business move or a bad business partner, a bad spouse, said something, you might have done something wrong. But if somebody holds you to that version of you as 23 or 24, And they don't allow you to move into the new today version of you, because every time they look at you, they see you from a lens of the 24-year-old version, not the 30-year-old version. And they hold on to that and hold on to that and hold on to that. It actually will suck you back into that 24-year-old version, whether you like it or not, or it's going to literally be like reins holding you from allowing this transformation. So your very tight network, family's a big one. It's like, hey, mom, dad, I'm not the 14-year-old boy that you still think I am. This is a common problem. Hey, maybe there's boss. Like, hey, dude, I'm 3 years into this. I'm not the brand new rep that you brought me in to be. Or maybe it's, so you've got to look at it and allow those that are around you, allow them to move into, like, think of them like a caterpillar going to a new butterfly, or like metamorphosis, like they're evolving like a snake shedding skins. And it's like the snake is a lot bigger than it was when it was a little baby. And it had to shed many layers to get there. And you had to allow it to, because if you stuck it in its one layer and it was trying to grow and grow, it actually died. And many people end up dying because they don't allow the skin to shed. So anyway, I need to put that in there before I move on. So the future. I had a rep, his name was Evan, and I hope to not like screw up the story, but he was just one of those guys. I think a lot of people could relate to it. Those guys that read all the books, was on all the calls, sat in the front row, had a journal out, notes out, spoke it, read it, listened to podcasts, rah dude, and great guy on the team. And it was really frustrating oftentimes when I would see all of his results suck. And he was all about 10x, and I'm going to get the Lamborghini, and I'm going to take the Instagram photos. And he talked about his $1 million mansion. He talked about this and that. He talked about all the things he was going to buy. But when it came push to shove, you were to fact check him on the actions he was taking when it came to actual work. And his work ethic wasn't there. He was a lot of talk and a little bit of walk. And over time, it really was taxing on people, because they're like, man, I like this guy. He can quote every book in the planet, but he's still broke as a joke, always asking for an advance. And I was like, what is the problem here? And he was so attached to the future version of himself that he could never look in the mirror and ask him, like, where am I at today? What am I doing today? And it's a bad trap that I think we get in, where we love the recognition of when we talk about cool things in the future, because there's an immediate dopamine hit when everybody's like, yeah, that would be awesome. That would be, oh, when you accomplish that, congrats. Like, and it feels like we got that like love and praise right then and there, and we actually misinterpret it. And we ride on those coattails, when in reality that isn't what is, that is in the future. So what is you need to do the actions today. And so there's this weird balance between manifestation, goal setting, future ambition, and just looking at the freaking 4 inches in front of us and being like, what do I need to do right now, and stop looking in the clouds, because there's, if I get stuck in the clouds, no traction. If I'm just on the ground, there's no vision. So you got to find this middle ground between going back and forth between traction and vision. So again, self-deception shows up because we talk about all the developing talents that we want to get, instead of looking at like, am I good at sales? Have I actually put in the work today to learn how to be better at sales or business or entrepreneurship? Or do I know XYZ, what I'm trying to accomplish?